Welcome to Life Lessons. Today, we're going to explore one of life's profound truths, impermanence. We often cling to things we desire, fearing loss and worrying about changes. But have you ever wondered why pain seems never-ending? In truth, nothing is eternal, not pain, and not even the joys of life. Join us as we explore how understanding impermanence can bring peace and profound insight to the soul. 1. What is impermanence? The concept of impermanence in Buddhism. In Buddhist teachings, the concept of impermanence, anicca, is a foundational principle that helps people deeply understand the nature of life. Impermanence isn't just random change, it's a fundamental law of the universe that continuously unfolds in everything around us, from physical phenomena like weather, life cycles of living beings, to psychological states like joy, sorrow, love, and desire. Impermanence means that nothing is fixed and everything is always in a state of change. This is the truth that the Buddha discovered on his path to enlightenment, and he taught it to sentient beings to help them ease their suffering. According to the Buddha, understanding impermanence is the first step in freeing oneself from life's constraints and troubles. By accepting that everything is constantly changing, we learn to live with a calm and composed attitude, without clinging too tightly to anything, whether it be material things, emotions, or ideas. The nature of impermanence. Impermanence doesn't only apply to major changes but also to the smallest details. Every moment, everything around us is changing. For example, our bodies undergo changes at the cellular level every second, and our thoughts and emotions constantly come and go. The Buddha taught that all things in the universe possess three characteristics: impermanence, they are not constant, suffering, arising from attachment to things that aren't real, and non-self, they lack an independent, permanent self. Buddhism uses the example of a river to illustrate impermanence. When we look at a river, it may appear as a stable, unchanging entity. However, in reality, the water in the river is always flowing and changing every minute and every second. No moment is the same as the last. Similarly, our lives are like that river, continuously transforming. By deeply understanding impermanence, we can see that everything around us, including suffering and misfortune, will pass and will never remain the same. Impermanence and suffering. One of the main causes of suffering in life is our attachment to things we wish to keep. We cling to our own existence, to relationships, and to fleeting emotions, which brings about suffering when these things change or are lost. The Buddha pointed out that suffering arises when we try to hold on to things that, by nature, cannot be held permanently. For example, when we love someone, we hope that this feeling will last forever. However, the reality is that everything is impermanent, and when that person changes or is no longer with us, we can easily fall into a state of suffering. Buddhist teachings on impermanence encourage us to learn to accept change. Rather than resisting the inevitable shifts of life, we should adapt and let go of our attachments. This doesn't mean abandoning feelings or becoming cold-hearted, rather, it's about learning to love and cherish everything in the present moment without clinging too much to what may happen in the future. When we understand that pain is also just a temporary state, we become more capable of moving beyond it and finding peace within. Practicing mindfulness to realize impermanence. In Buddhist practice, mindfulness, sati, is a crucial tool that helps us deepen our awareness of impermanence. Mindfulness means fully focusing on the present moment, observing everything as it is without judgment or overreaction. When we practice mindfulness, we start to see that every emotion, every thought, and even every breath is constantly changing. By applying mindfulness in our daily lives, we can better understand the impermanent nature of all things. For instance, during meals, we can practice mindfulness by concentrating on the taste, color, and texture of the food. Through mindful observation, we see that everything, including joy and sorrow, comes and goes. This is how we train our minds to accept change naturally and reduce attachment. Impermanence as the key to overcoming suffering. In Buddhist teachings, impermanence is not only an observation of the world's constant change but also a key to freeing ourselves from suffering. When we recognize the impermanent nature of everything, we understand that nothing is worth clinging to. Every attachment, whether material or mental, becomes a source of suffering because we can neither retain nor control them as we desire. But when we accept impermanence, we can let go of expectations and attain true freedom. The Buddha showed that impermanence is foundational for enlightenment. When we truly understand and accept impermanence, our minds become calm, no longer disturbed by life's changes. We are no longer drawn into the endless cycle of joy and sorrow, but instead live with a serene attitude, ready to embrace whatever comes our way. Impermanence in daily life. Applying the teachings of impermanence in daily life is a path to living peacefully and happily. Instead of hoping that everything will go our way, we should open our hearts to all experiences, whether they bring joy or pain. Accepting impermanence is how we can live fully in each moment, without worrying about the future or regretting the past. When we understand that everything is impermanent, we learn to appreciate what we have in the present. As a result, each day becomes more meaningful, and we no longer let pain or troubles overshadow our happiness. For example, when we face challenges, rather than worry, we can remind ourselves that this, too, is part of life's impermanence. Everything will pass, and by embracing this, we find it easier to overcome difficulties. Impermanence is a truth about the continuous transformation of all things. It teaches us to let go and live freely. When we recognize that nothing is permanent, we are no longer caught in the cycle of attachment. The teachings of impermanence help us see the true nature of life, bringing us to inner peace and enlightenment. In each moment, remember that everything is impermanent, and that is the beauty of life. 2. The nature of suffering and attachment. In Buddhist teachings, suffering, dukkha, is not merely a negative feeling or discomfort that people experience in life. Suffering arises from attachment, from our desire to hold on to things that we believe bring us happiness or security, and from our resistance to what we do not want to happen. When we cling to joy, success, or cherished relationships, we become vulnerable to pain when these things do not meet our expectations. This is the root cause of suffering. Buddhism explains that attachment, tanha, is a natural human response, as we constantly seek something certain to rely on. But the essence of everything is impermanent, things constantly change and are never fixed. Therefore, all attachment leads to suffering, because we cannot keep what we desire, nor can we prevent what we do not want. When we tightly hold on to feelings of happiness or success, we set ourselves up for the cycle of desire and disappointment, as even happiness and success are temporary. Buddhism teaches that suffering doesn't only come from external factors but also from how we react to them. For example, when faced with hardship or failure, our usual reaction is anger, frustration, or self-blame. These emotions do not inherently cause us pain, but it is how we let them control our minds and behavior. The Buddha advised that we learn to observe our emotions mindfully, without judgment or attachment. By seeing emotions as they are, without overreacting, we can free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. One Buddhist method for overcoming attachment is practicing mindfulness, allowing us to observe our feelings and thoughts objectively. Instead of clinging to emotions, we can recognize their presence and gradually let them go. Mindfulness does not mean eliminating emotions, but rather viewing them as part of life's experience and accepting them naturally. In this way, we gradually become at ease, understanding that all emotions, whether joy or sorrow, are temporary and will come and go. When we let go of attachment, life becomes lighter. We no longer rely too much on external conditions to define our happiness or sorrow but instead find peace within. Accepting that everything changes, including pain, is the first step to overcoming suffering, achieving inner freedom, and living fully in the present moment. 3. Living calmly amidst impermanence. Living calmly amidst impermanence is an art that allows us to face life's constant changes while maintaining peace and tranquility within. Impermanence is the nature of the universe, and embracing it is a key step toward happiness and freedom. Buddhist teachings encourage us to practice mindfulness so that we can become deeply aware of each moment, learning to let go of our attachments to joys, sorrows, and objects around us. This is the path that leads us to calmness amid the changing cycles of life. Mindfulness is a fundamental practice in Buddhism that helps us live fully in the present. Mindfulness, also known as awareness, is the ability to observe each action, thought, and emotion clearly in the present moment, without being influenced by distractions or negative emotions. When we practice mindfulness, we stop to observe ourselves, without judgment, avoidance, or getting caught up in desires or fears. By doing so, we can face life as it is, without allowing our minds to be pulled by regrets about the past or worries about the future. One of the important aspects of mindfulness is understanding that all emotions, from joy to sorrow, are temporary. Pain, like happiness, is like a passing breeze, it comes and goes. Yet we often cling to emotions. When we're happy, we want to hold on to it forever, and when we're sad, we try to escape or erase it. This attachment is a primary cause of suffering because it creates unrealistic expectations that everything will remain stable or always align with our desires. Accepting that all emotions are impermanent helps us prevent pain from lingering too long in our minds. Recognizing that suffering is a natural part of life, and that it will eventually pass, enables us to face it calmly, without letting negative emotions control our actions. This doesn't mean denying or suppressing emotions, rather, it means accepting and observing them with an objective attitude. We understand that emotions, like waves on water, are merely fleeting ripples on the surface of our inner ocean, not the essence of who we truly are. Practicing mindfulness also fosters patience and the ability to let go. When we fully experience each passing moment, we realize that nothing is worth clinging to excessively. Everything, from success to failure, from joy to sorrow, is an experience for us to learn and grow from. When we live mindfully, we can welcome everything as it is, without labeling it as good or bad. This brings us inner freedom, a state where we are not bound by anything. We no longer feel a sense of lack or dissatisfaction but instead feel peace and gratitude. A practical way to live calmly amidst impermanence is to practice mindfulness regularly in everyday activities. When eating, we can focus on the flavors, savoring each bite without thinking about other tasks. When walking, we pay attention to each step, feeling the ground beneath us and enjoying each moment. These simple actions keep us connected to the present, freeing us from worries or unrealistic expectations. In modern life, where the pace of change is ever accelerating, maintaining calm becomes more important than ever. Impermanence can bring unexpected changes, and without mindfulness, we are easily swept into a cycle of stress and anxiety. Mindfulness keeps us aware of these changes, allowing us to view everything with a sense of calm rather than being overwhelmed. In this way, we are less affected by external factors and cultivate inner strength that is not easily shaken. To truly live calmly amidst impermanence, we need a patient heart and an open mind. Patience to wait for pain to pass and not rush to seek new pleasures, and openness to accept all experiences, whether joy or challenge, as essential parts of the journey. When we accept that life is always changing, we can let go of unrealistic expectations and begin to live freely in each moment. In conclusion, living calmly amidst impermanence means learning to love and appreciate what we have without clinging, accepting and embracing all changes with a serene mind. Mindfulness allows us to see the true nature of impermanence in life, helping us understand and release unnecessary attachments. Living with awareness and acceptance of impermanence, we experience inner peace, freedom from the turbulence of the mind, and a complete presence in every moment of now. 4. Practicing mindfulness to embrace impermanence. One of the simplest and most effective methods to practice mindfulness and experience impermanence is by focusing on the breath. Breath is a natural part of life, and each inhalation and exhalation reflects a process of constant change. When we take time to sit still and pay attention to each breath, we gradually realize that even the breath, something seemingly simple and familiar, never repeats in the same way. Each breath brings a new experience, reminding us that life, too, is always moving and continuously transforming. As we practice mindfulness with our breath, notice every detail, the sensation of air entering, the lungs expanding, and then the gentle release of the air. Each breath is a cycle, a beginning and an end, just as everything in life is subject to birth and decay. By observing the breath, we can see that nothing is permanent, not even the joys or sorrows we are experiencing. Impermanence exists in every moment, and accepting this truth allows us to find inner peace. Focusing on the breath also helps us break free from repetitive thoughts about the past or anxieties about the future. The breath serves as a bridge between the body and the mind, helping us return to the present moment and reduce unnecessary stress. When we become fully aware of each breath, we gradually release our worries and anxieties, freeing the mind to feel lighter and more at ease. A vital point in practicing mindfulness is to avoid judging the emotions or thoughts that arise in our minds. Sometimes, worries or troubling thoughts may appear during meditation. When this happens, instead of avoiding or pushing them away, we can observe them with acceptance. We watch these emotions, allowing them to arise and dissolve, just like each breath, without trying to hold on to or reject them. The practice of mindfulness with the breath also helps us gain a deeper awareness of impermanence. When we understand that even the breath is constantly changing, we no longer cling to fleeting emotions or attempt to hold on to things that cannot be sustained. This path leads to inner peace, where all pain feels lighter, and all worries can gently dissolve. Remember, nothing is eternal, not even the difficulties and worries we carry. Living mindfully means living in harmony with impermanence, finding peace and freedom in each breath and each present moment. 5. The meaning of impermanence in life. When we recognize and accept the impermanent nature of all things, life becomes lighter and more meaningful. Impermanence teaches us that everything, from joy to sorrow, from success to failure, is only temporary. This awareness encourages us to cherish each present moment, letting go of fleeting attachments and no longer fearing the changes life brings. Accepting impermanence allows us to live with mindfulness and freedom. When we are no longer attached to impermanent things, we feel lighter, no longer worried about loss or change. Rather than viewing pain as misfortune, we can see it as a lesson for growth. Every difficulty we face is an opportunity to learn more about ourselves, to confront adversity, and to develop compassion and patience. Moments of happiness, on the other hand, become sources of inspiration, helping us appreciate the beauty and meaning of life. Understanding impermanence also teaches us to let go. Letting go does not mean abandoning or forgetting, it means accepting everything as it is, without getting caught up in expectations or disappointments. Instead of clinging to joy or fearing pain, we learn to live fully in the present, embracing each experience without setting unrealistic hopes or judgments. This creates a state of inner freedom, where we no longer feel restricted by mental or circumstantial limitations. A core value in understanding impermanence is that it encourages us to live wholeheartedly in each moment, for every second is unique and will never return. When we treasure the present, we become more patient, avoiding haste or wasting time on trivial matters. This helps us realize that happiness lies not in reaching a destination but in each step along life's journey. Remember, nothing is eternal, not even pain. Everything will pass, and change is a natural part of life. To find peace, we don't need to resist change, instead, we can learn to harmonize with it. Rather than resisting, let us learn to let go and welcome new experiences. True peace doesn't come from what we have or hold on to, but from how we respond to all things with a calm and appreciative heart, cherishing each precious moment life offers. Thank you for taking the time to explore the truth of impermanence with life lessons. If this video has offered you valuable insights, please remember to like and share this message with others. Subscribe to our channel to receive more meaningful lessons about life and Buddhist philosophy. Let us continue this journey together, seeking peace and happiness in every moment.